Hi, it's Andrew Eborn here, and welcome back to a very special episode where we're going to be flaming and decorating. Earlier on, we made a creme brulee. We took you through all of that, and I've dragged him back, kicking and screaming. The wonderful Chris Dodd. How are you, Chris?
Fab, thank you. Really well.
Fantastic. Well, we last time had a look at how to make a creme brulee. The key to it, however, and this is the fun bit. We've learned about the history, we learned how to make it. The fun bit is the flaming of the brulee. Talk us through that.
There we go. You want to get one of these blow torches, not expensive, 20 quid maximum. And it just really, it's like a lighter, but it, blasts heat down. You see the flame there on my shirt, there we go. Blue background. And the thing with the flame is that the hot part is here at the end, and then the cooler part, not cold, but cooler, is there. You see there, it's in two colors. And a bit of a science lesson. That's all I'm going to say about it. And then we're going to need, that's where science stopped for me. So I have the creme brulee, the finished one. So we cooked that. It was cooked in the low oven in the bain-marie, like we spoke about in the water bath. And it took about 40 minutes at this size, 40 minutes. And so now it's got, there's a little, it's sort of two-tone here. You can sort of, the light's awful here. Two-tone, there's a little bit of fat on the surface there. That's normal, that's fine. And you've got sort of a brown color because that's the pistachio paste, but your vanilla one would be a nice golden custard color. And we are going to glaze it. We're going to sprinkle some demerara sugar here on the top, and then we're going to use that blowtorch to melt it and caramelize it. So you want to make sure that there's no, you can use caster sugar, but you don't get that thick layer. Demerara's got those pieces, so it's nice to melt it. Whereas, so caster sugar, you can use it, but it's good to do one layer and then sprinkle more on top and do it again.
And that's good advice, and that's the difference between caster sugar and the granules you've got there, because caster sugar is great, but those granules there, demerara, aren't they?
It's like, yeah, I know. I like my one type of sugar, but it's a lot rarer. And it's like that cake I made. It's like, most cakes are £1, but they're double the price, and that's Madeira cake.
I love it. We're here all week with these top tips for tarts. It's always a thrill.
So let's tip this camera down and get glazing. So that's all we need. A little bit of sugar, blowtorch, and the creme brulee. This creme brulee is being cooked. It's been in the fridge to set. So you let it cool at room temperature and then put it in the fridge, because you don't put hot things in the fridge. And then I let it cool in the fridge, so it's set. The custard's set. It's not moving at all. And if you do put this straight in the fridge, if you were to, you would get a crack down the middle, because the custard would seize and it would split, and the fat would set, and you'd end up with a crack right down the middle. And often, actually, around the sides, it comes away from the bowl as well, which is not good. So the idea is you dump a load of the sugar on the top and shake it around like that, and then tip off the excess. And that way you get a nice layer so the whole custard is covered, but there's no excess. We'll keep that just aside, just in case we want to do another layer. Then any excess around the edge, you just clean with your thumb, so you don't want all the splatters of sugar up the side of the bowl. Get your blowtorch going. And when you do it, you want to use that colder part of the flame, so you put it quite close to it. And what will happen is you'll melt the sugar a bit before burning it, before caramelizing it. If you just use the hot part of the flame, you'd end up with just burnt sugar, and you wouldn't melt the demerara at all. So that's what you want. You get it quite close to it, and you can see there, look, it's starting to get patchy caramelized sugar. This is quite a delicate blowtorch. The one I've got at work is huge, and the flame this would be done already. Be done 5 seconds ago. But there's no rush. We're not in a rush here. And you don't want it to get too dark. So you see there's a few dark spots there. So I'll leave those to set a little bit, and I'll come back to those in a minute. and that's why you don't want lumps. So if you've used you just make sure your demerara hasn't stuck together, because if you have lumps of it, clusters of it, that will burn straight away, because it won't dissolve. It won't melt on itself. The lumps are too big, granules. There. So you don't want to go too dark. But this demerara sugar was quite dark in the first place. It's an organic one, so it's a little bit darker. That's pretty much as far as I want to take it. So you want an even glaze across there, and so that's ready. I think it looks quite dark on the camera. It's not as dark in real life, I promise. And you let that set for just a minute, just to cool, and the caramel will be hard, and that's what you want, because there's nothing more satisfying taking a spoon and tapping the back on it, and you hear that wonderful crunchy caramel before going into the soft, creamy custard. So if I tapped it now with my spoon, it wouldn't. It's still quite soft, especially over there.
Tap it again. Listen.
Oh, let's do it right by the speaker here. So this is on one side that's not really soft yet, not really set yet. It's a little bit tappy, and then. Did you hear that? Does it?
Not really.
No. It's more of a very personal thing. I don't really want to share it.
Do it again. Tap it. Here we go. Come in. Okay.
There we go.
That'll work. That'll convince them. Anyway,
it should sound like somebody knocking on a table. That's how it should be.
That's the one. Good.
So you let that.
What I love about this, Chris, the very first time that I found this was reported was in 1630 at Trinity College in Cambridge, where they actually did, with a flamethrower, they got the emblem, the crest of Trinity College, Cambridge. And the first time was at 1630, 4:30, and it was the Cambridge Creme Brulee 1630, which is what we're going to call this episode, because many people around the world have tried to claim it. The French have tried to claim it, the Spanish have tried to claim it, but we reckon it was invented in Cambridge, in Trinity College at 1630. And we're going to claim that record. We're going to claim the invention for the world on this episode here today. People are writing in. Look, they're all emailing us as we speak, saying, yes, we agree. We love it.
There'll be an angry Frenchman denying it's true, definitely.
Oh, c'est vrai, the French are saying. They love it. It's got to be good.
So yeah, but when instead of using a blowtorch back then, what they would have done, and if you really don't want to buy a blowtorch, you're only going to do this one time. You can't think of anything using not going to get into metal work or something with one of these. You can. It depends on your grill. If you can get your grill super hot, and you can get the dish right near the grill, that's how they would have done it all those years ago. Was with that, and let it caramelize. I guess it was an invention by accident, like we know everything in food, or most things in food.
I can tell you, because I was there, 1630, they put the crests, the crest of Trinity College, and they wanted to put it on the pudding, and that's how they did it.
So for the crest, instead of using the grill or instead of using a blowtorch, they would use a branding iron.
Exactly.
Shaped like that, get that over the fire and like this. And I've done that before. It just takes a lot of time. You can only do one at a time. So you have to heat it back up again. And if you're going to do 60 for a big function, a big party, then it takes a little time. But it's quite cool because that way you can get your logo on it. I suppose you could, I have not tried it, but I think, no, that way, how they, in the coffee shops, they sprinkle your cocoa on the top of the top of the coffee. I think with a stencil, a heart shape or something, if you had a metal stencil, you could maybe shake the sort of sugar in between that and then keep the stencil there and blowtorch around there. It might work, but the sugar may melt and sort of the shape won't be too precise. So I think that branding iron is, if you really want to get into branding
I can tell you that's exactly how they did it. 1630, Trinity College, Cambridge, branding iron at the ready. That's what they did for their creme brulee. And that's where it was invented. Amazing.
Exactly, yeah. So this is cooled now, and so the spoon should make a nice cracking sound on it. Is that coming up a bit clearer?
Yeah, that's very clear. That's cracking, a cracking creme brulee.
Yeah. So that's the satisfying bit. So now that's all that crunchy sugar. So now we can cut into it. Now, I don't really like serving it with much more than a biscuit, or just on its own. You can put some berries on top because, you know, photographically it doesn't look great because it's not built up. It's all flat in a dish. The caramel's kind of dark. It doesn't sell itself on a photo very well. So put a few berries on top or something. But I think it's just perfect with a biscuit. So let's get the camera down, and there it is. You got that on there? Yeah.
And the biscuit. I reckon you didn't make that biscuit, but I reckon you could, given the time. What do you think?
Well, I was a little unprepared for this video. I thought I'd make some biscuits, but I didn't make it in time. So this is a biscotti. It was a perfectly good quality biscotti, but
it was one I made, and I can tell everybody, I can tell our viewers at home, this was a biscotti that I made. I'll give you the recipe a little bit later, but I sent them over to Chris because I know he was going to be so busy making our Cambridge creme brulee from 1630 that I had to prepare the biscotti. So the biscotti are from Octopus TV biscotti, and we'll share our special recipe another time.
Great. So I think, and the thing is, biscotti are wonderful because they're baked once as a loaf, and then you slice them and dry them for forever. So they're really cracky. And then when you dip it into a coffee, it doesn't break up, like a rich tea. I mean, do you like the biscuit to go soggy, or do you leave it in the tea, and eat it with a spoon, or do you?
Well, I have to say, my ideal thing is I can dunk it and take it out, but inevitably, on many occasions, I overdunk. And when you overdunk, you put it in there, and actually it then dissolves like a sort of porridgey sludge at the bottom of your cup of coffee or tea. And I then have to use the spoon to scoop it out. So the intention is certainly the former, but inevitably it's the latter that succeeds.
Yeah, but it's good because you end up with a meal at the end of your cup of tea.
Everywhere I end up with a meal, so that's always a thrill. We love it.
So that's it. I need to take a picture of this to put it on the website for the recipe.
Quite right. So you're going to take it into a darkened room to be photographed, and we won't see what you do to darkened rooms and creme brulee. So we're going to leave it there. But for now, Chris Dodd, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. So thank you indeed for Chris Dodd for joining us again with the creme brulee. Do try the recipe at home. Send in your pictures. See if you can get cracking on that fantastic crispy top. We love it. It's got to be good. If you've got suggestions for other recipes you'd like to learn about, or got suggestions for your own recipes and would like to join me, write to me at LOL, that's LOL, at octopustv.com. But for now, I've been Andrew Eborn. You've been great. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time.